She doesn't love you. She never loved you. She only needed you to believe that she did. It's a hard truth, but one that many men fail to face until it's too late. The pain it causes is real, but in the long run, pain is the most honest teacher we have. It tells us the truth when our minds refuse to acknowledge it. It stirs us awake, even if the message it brings is unwelcome. The truth, no matter how brutal, has a unique way of shaking us from our comfortable delusions. When you look at your reflection in the mirror, do you see the man who stands tall, poised, and confident in his own skin? Do you see the polite gentleman who opens doors, tells her she's beautiful every morning, and makes sure she knows she's cherished? If so, you're looking at a version of yourself that's invisible to her. Worse than invisible, you are predictable. You're the man who follows a script, the one who bends over backward to please her, the one who gives her everything, often at the expense of yourself. In the realm of attraction and desire, predictability is death. It's the absence of challenge. It's the end of excitement. It's a stagnant place where passion dies a slow, quiet death, and you become nothing more than another fixture in her life. She doesn't see you. She doesn't desire you. She may love you in a certain way, but that love is far from the consuming, passionate connection that drives real desire. She craves something else, something deeper and more primal. Every woman carries a monster within her. It's not an easy truth to accept. But deep within the DNA of every woman is a primal need, a monster that she herself often does not understand. This monster is the force that shapes her desires, and it has nothing to do with what you think she should want. It's not about affection, kindness, or sweet words. It's about power, danger, unpredictability. It's not something that can be tamed or controlled. The more you try to control it, the further it slips from your grasp. She'll tell you she wants a sensitive man. She'll claim that she's looking for someone who listens, who is emotionally available, someone who understands her. But the reality is different. Women have always been biologically wired to seek out a partner who challenges them, someone who does not need them, someone who does not follow the rules of affection, but instead writes his own script. The man who challenges her, who makes her doubt, who never fully reveals himself. He's the one who stirs her desire. It's a cruel irony, isn't it? The man who is emotionally available, the one who pours all his affection into her, is the one she takes for granted. It's the man who holds his emotions back, the one who doesn't immediately reply to every text message, the one who doesn't jump through hoops to gain her approval, who ignites the deepest fires of her desire. You can be the perfect partner, but if you lack the one thing that truly attracts her, the mystery, the danger, the absence of certainty, then you'll never fully captivate her. This goes back to the way humans have evolved. For millions of years, women survived by choosing the warriors, the hunters, the conquerors. These were the men who could provide, who could protect, who could fight battles and win wars. Women were biologically programmed to gravitate toward the man who could keep her safe and protect her offspring. But that's not all. It's not just about physical protection. It's about a man who could lead, a man who was unpredictable, a man who was not defined by his relationship with her. You think that love is about communication, about mutual understanding, and shared moments of tenderness. You might believe that this is what she wants too, but she lies. Not intentionally, but she lies because her body responds to something else entirely. It responds to the man who makes her feel uncertain, who doesn't bend over backward to please her, who doesn't live for her. This is where the monster comes in. The monster is not violent or abusive. He doesn't need to be. The monster is unpredictable. He has a mission, a purpose, something that drives him outside of the relationship. Do you know why she talks about the ex who treated her badly with a certain glow in her eyes? Do you know why she gets excited when she mentions the boss who treats her terribly? It's not because of trauma or mistreatment. It's because deep down, She craves unpredictability. She craves the tension, the thrill of not knowing. She thrives on the emotional roller coaster, the ups and downs that come with loving someone who doesn't give all of himself away. When she talks about her ex, she's not talking about love. She's talking about desire, pure, unfiltered desire. This isn't about masochism, it's biology. For women, uncertainty is what fuels attraction. It's the tension of not knowing what will happen next that makes them feel alive. The man who challenges her, who makes her question where she stands, is the one who ignites the deepest passions. And you, the predictable one, the one who is always available, always eager to please. While she may appreciate you on some level, she does not crave you. The monster understands that emotional connection isn't about being soft, it's about being strong. It's not about constantly reassuring her, it's about allowing her to see that your world is larger than hers, that you have goals, ambitions, and a purpose that exists outside of the relationship. The monster does not live for her. She is an addition to his life, not the center of it. His world doesn't revolve around her, and she knows it. She feels the power that comes from being with a man who has something greater than her, something he's willing to pursue, regardless of whether or not she's along for the ride. The monster also knows the power of saying no. When was the last time you said no to something important? When did you last prioritize your own needs, your own desires, over hers? The monster says no without hesitation, without guilt. He knows that his time, his attention, and his energy are valuable, and he isn't willing to give them away freely. Every time he says no, it makes him more attractive to her. It creates a sense of scarcity, a sense that his time is limited and that it must be earned. The final piece of the monster's power is emotional mystery. You, on the other hand, reveal everything. You lay all your feelings out on the table, as if she needs to know every single thought that crosses your mind. The monster is different. He keeps some things to himself, and she can't help but be drawn to the mystery. It's not about being cold or distant. It's about maintaining emotional self-sufficiency. When you pour all your feelings into her, when you make it clear that your happiness depends on her, you rob her of the opportunity to desire you. The monster, by contrast, keeps a part of himself hidden. This creates tension, and tension is the key to desire. Do you see the difference now? You are predictable, always available, always giving. She has all the control. The monster, on the other hand, is a force of nature. He isn't trying to control her, but he isn't controlled by her either. His strength lies in his independence, his emotional self-sufficiency, and his ability to remain unpredictable. He doesn't beg for her attention. He doesn't need her approval. He is a man who understands the power of emotional distance, and that distance makes him magnetic. The monster's emotional self-sufficiency is the key to his allure. Women are naturally attracted to strength, but not the kind of strength that comes from a muscular body or brute force. That is superficial. True strength, the kind that draws women in and makes them feel safe yet alive, is the strength of character. It is the man who does not bend, the man who does not need to be constantly reassured or validated by others, especially not by the woman he is with. The monster knows his own worth, and because he does, he doesn't need to seek validation from anyone, least of all from her. This emotional self-sufficiency creates a unique dynamic. When a man is comfortable in his own skin, when he doesn't need the approval of his partner to feel complete, he becomes a force to be reckoned with. This is the man who is unconcerned with the ups and downs of the relationship because his happiness does not depend on it. He has a deep sense of purpose and direction, and that makes him far more attractive than the man who is constantly at her beck and call. In the world of attraction, neediness is poison. The man who is always available, always ready to meet her needs, is perceived as weak. His presence becomes nothing more than a comfortable, predictable part of her life. She might appreciate him, but she will never desire him the way she desires the man who stands apart, the man who is independent and self-sufficient. He doesn't chase her, he doesn't seek her approval. He is a man who lives for his own mission, his own goals. And if she is part of that mission, it is because she enhances his life, not because he needs her to define his existence. This is the key difference between the monster and the average man. The monster is not a man who seeks to dominate, but one who can. He does not seek to control her, but he does not let her control him either. This is the balance. It's about respecting her, valuing her, but never letting her become the center of your universe. The man who places her at the center of his world is the man who loses himself in the process. He becomes so consumed by the relationship that he forgets who he is outside of it, and in doing so, he ceases to be a man of value. The monster, by contrast, is a man who is unpredictable and self-contained. He keeps her on her toes, not through games or manipulation, but through his genuine detachment. He's emotionally available when it suits him, but he does not revolve around her. He is not desperate for her attention. Instead, he gives attention when he wants to and pulls back when he needs to. This emotional economy is what makes him so irresistible. Have you noticed how women react to men who are tsars, consumed with their own mission? Women may complain that these men don't pay enough attention to them, that they're too focused on their work, their art, or their goals. But here's the paradox. They never leave them. Why? Because they respect men who have something more important than them. They might argue, they might express frustration, but deep down, they know that being with a man who has a greater purpose is the greatest privilege they can have. They understand that a man who is driven by something larger than the relationship is the kind of man who can offer them stability, security, and excitement in equal measure. The monster doesn't live for her. He lives for himself, for his own mission. He does not need her, but he chooses her. She is not the source of his happiness, but a beautiful addition to the life he is already creating. This sense of independence is intoxicating. It makes her feel valued because his attention is rare, not constant. It creates a scarcity that makes her desire him even more. When a woman knows that a man has options, that he could easily walk away and still have a fulfilling life, she begins to crave his attention more deeply. She longs to be chosen by him, to be the woman who gets to share his world. You, on the other hand, have become predictable. You are always there, always available. You respond to her texts immediately. You make yourself available at all hours, and you give her your attention whenever she asks for it. You have no purpose outside of the relationship. You have no life outside of her. And because of this, your attention becomes worthless. It is like a commodity that can be bought and sold at will. Your availability is no longer something special, but an expectation. And once something becomes an expectation, it loses its value. The monster understands the power of emotional distance. He does not live in the constant flow of emotion that so many men believe is necessary for a successful relationship. He understands that the most powerful emotions are the ones that are not fully expressed, the ones that are left unsaid, the ones that are held back just enough to create tension. This tension is what makes her crave him. When she doesn't know how he feels, when she can't predict his every move, when she can't anticipate his reactions, she is forced to feel the full depth of her emotions. This is what makes her feel alive, what makes her want him. This is not about playing games or manipulating her. It's about understanding the nature of desire. Desire thrives on uncertainty. It thrives on tension. When you make yourself available all the time, when you give her your affection on demand, you rob her of the opportunity to miss you. You make it easy for her to take you for granted, and in doing so, you kill the spark that could have existed between you. When you pull back, When you make her work for your attention, it reintroduces the mystery, the excitement, and the thrill of the chase. This is what the monster understands. He knows that desire is not a constant flame. It's a fire that needs to be stoked. He doesn't give everything all at once. He doesn't pour his feelings out on the table. He keeps some things hidden, and this emotional mystery drives her wild. She wonders, she imagines, she fantasizes. She becomes obsessed with him, not because he is the perfect partner, but because he is the perfect puzzle. Do you see the difference? The monster does not chase. He does not beg. He does not need validation. He understands the power of being unpredictable, of being emotionally self-sufficient, and of maintaining a sense of mystery. His value is not determined by his relationship with her. It is determined by the life he creates for himself. He is a man on a mission, and she is lucky to be a part of that mission, but she is never the center of it. This is what you have lost. You have made her the center of your world, and in doing so, you have lost the very qualities that made you attractive to her in the first place. You have become predictable, safe, and boring. And once you lose the mystery, once you lose the tension, the desire fades away. You've allowed yourself to become predictable, and that is what kills desire. In the world of relationships and attraction, we often forget the primal instincts that guide our actions. We assume that love and affection can be nurtured through constant attention, through always being available, through open communication. But the reality is that this constant availability, this predictability, is the very thing that undermines passion. Desire thrives in the unknown. It thrives on unpredictability, on the tension of not knowing what's going to happen next. The monster understands this at a core level. He is a man of mystery, not because he consciously manipulates or plays games, but because his life is full of uncertainty, of things he is working towards that do not involve her. He is constantly evolving, constantly moving forward, and because of this, his presence is felt deeply when he is around and missed intensely when he is not. You, on the other hand, have become a fixture in her life. Your attention is a given. Your affection is expected. She knows that whenever she calls, you will be there. Whenever she needs you, you'll drop everything to attend to her. You have become her emotional safety net, and while safety is comforting, it is not exciting. It is not desire. You have lost the very thing that made you attractive to her in the first place, your unpredictability. She no longer feels the spark of excitement when you walk into the room. She no longer feels the tension of wondering where she stands with you. You have made yourself predictable, and in doing so, you have removed the very foundation of attraction. Why do you think she feels the need to test you? This is a common question men ask. They don't understand why women start drama, why they push buttons, why they create conflict. But the truth is, it's not about creating problems. It's about testing your ability to maintain control, to stand your ground, to remain unpredictable. Women test men because they want to see if they are still a man who can lead, who can set boundaries, who can make decisions without asking for permission. They want to know if you are still the man they were initially attracted to, or if you've become just another emotional son in the relationship. When she creates conflict, when she pushes you away, she is not trying to punish you. She is trying to see if you still have the strength to stand firm. She is testing your emotional resilience. If you give in every time, if you apologize excessively, if you seek peace at all costs, you lose. Your value drops in her eyes because she sees that you no longer have the strength to maintain your own boundaries. And when you lose that strength, you lose her respect. And with that respect, desire begins to fade. The monster, however, does not give in. He does not need to win every argument, but he knows when to stand his ground. When she tests him, he doesn't react with weakness. He remains unshaken, calm, and confident in his stance. His emotional self-sufficiency is his greatest asset. He does not rely on her validation to feel good about himself. This calmness, this emotional stability, is what makes him irresistible. When she pushes, he becomes immovable. He doesn't engage in the drama. He doesn't seek to fix everything. He understands that conflict is a natural part of any relationship, but it is not the conflict that defines him. It is his response to that conflict. When she tries to create tension, he remains unaffected, and this creates a space where desire can flourish. She wants to know that the man she is with can withstand her tests, that he is not afraid to challenge her, and that he does not need her to validate his existence. The monster embodies all of this. The monster does not beg for attention. He understands that attention is earned, not demanded. The man who is always available, always eager to please, always seeking her approval, is the man who is perceived as weak. His attention becomes a commodity that can be accessed at any time, and once something becomes available without effort, its value decreases. This is a basic principle of economics: supply and demand. If your attention is abundant, if you give it away freely, it becomes worthless. The monster understands the value of scarcity. He pulls back. He makes her work for his attention. He does not respond immediately to every text or phone call. He creates space between interactions, and in that space, desire grows. It is this scarcity that makes him desirable. The more he pulls back, the more she is drawn to him. She begins to crave his attention, to seek his approval, because she understands that it is not something she can have on demand. The monster is not easy to obtain, and that makes him irresistible. You, on the other hand, have become the opposite of the monster. You have become predictable. You give her everything, all the time, without any effort on her part. You are always there, always willing, always ready to please. And because of this, you are no longer exciting. Your value has plummeted, and with it, so has her attraction to you. She may still love you in some way, but it is no longer the kind of love that ignites desire. The key to understanding female desire is recognizing that desire is not about getting everything you want when you want it. Desire thrives on unpredictability, on the tension between what is given and what is withheld. The monster knows this. He understands that women are drawn to men who have a sense of mystery, a sense of power, and a sense of purpose that goes beyond the relationship. The monster also understands the importance of living a life beyond her. When you place all your attention, your time, your energy into the relationship, you lose yourself. You become too focused on her needs, her desires, and her feelings. You forget that your life, your purpose, is the thing that made her fall in love with you in the first place. She wants a man with a purpose, a man with a mission. She doesn't want to be the center of his world. She wants to be a part of his world, a woman who shares in his journey. When you become too focused on her, when she becomes the sun around which you revolve, you lose your power. The monster, however, keeps his purpose as his driving force. He doesn't live for her. He lives for himself, for his own mission. And because of that, his value remains high. You have made her the center of your universe, and by doing so, you've diminished your own value. The monster does not do this. He is the center of his own universe. He is the man who is constantly growing, evolving, and conquering. He doesn't need her to feel validated. He is already validated by the life he is creating for himself. And when she sees that, when she understands that he is a man who lives with purpose, she is drawn to him in a way that she cannot explain. The monster is not afraid of losing her. He loves her, but he does not need her. And this is the most attractive quality of all. Self-sufficiency, emotional strength, and the ability to remain unattached to her approval are what make him irresistible. The monster doesn't live for her, but rather for himself. This is the core difference between you and the monster. You have allowed yourself to be consumed by the relationship. You have placed her on a pedestal, given her the throne of your world, and in doing so, you've sacrificed everything that made you unique, strong, and desirable. You've made her the center of your existence, and in doing so, you have made your life too small. When you give everything to her and ask for nothing in return, you become predictable, and that predictability is the death of attraction. The monster, on the other hand, does not need her to complete him. His value is not dependent on her approval or affection. His value comes from the life he creates for himself, from the purpose he pursues, from the mission that drives him every day. His life is a journey of self-discovery and self-actualization. He is constantly growing, evolving, and expanding into new territories. His mind is consumed with his work, his passion, and his mission, and when she enters his life, it is because she adds value to it, not because she completes him. And that, my friend, is what makes the monster so irresistible. You see, the monster knows that attraction isn't about giving more. It's about giving less, but giving less in the right way. He doesn't pour out his love and attention at the first sign of need. He withholds. He lets her chase. He lets her wonder. He makes her work to earn his attention, and when she does, it's not a guarantee that she will get it. This sense of mystery, this scarcity, creates a powerful desire that she cannot control. It makes her feel alive in a way that your predictability never could. The more you give, the less she values what you offer. This is the truth that you must understand. You've been giving her everything, your time, your attention, your emotions, thinking that by doing so, you would secure her love and affection. But the opposite has happened. The more you give, the more she takes, and the less she appreciates it. She has become numb to your generosity because it's always available. She doesn't have to work for it. She doesn't have to earn it. The monster understands the power of withholding. He does not give his affection away freely. He doesn't respond to every call or text immediately. He doesn't bend to her will at the slightest hint of discomfort. He knows that desire thrives on the tension between what is given and what is withheld. The monster holds back because he understands that his attention is valuable. He understands that he is not the one who needs to be validated. She is the one who needs to earn his attention, his affection, and his desire. The monster is also a man who has options. He has a life beyond the relationship. He is not emotionally dependent on her, and because of that, he is free to love her as he chooses, but also to walk away if it no longer serves him. This freedom, this emotional self-sufficiency, is what makes him so magnetic. Women are drawn to men who have options. They are not drawn to men who need them. They are not attracted to men who will bend over backward to make them happy. Women are drawn to men who live their own lives, who pursue their own goals, who are driven by their own purpose. These are the men who can take or leave a relationship. They can love, but they don't need to be loved to feel whole. This emotional independence is what makes them desirable. You, on the other hand, have allowed your emotional dependency to shape your relationship. You have allowed your life to revolve around her, and by doing so, you have weakened yourself. You have made yourself small. The monster does not make himself small for anyone. He lives large, not in terms of material wealth, but in terms of his energy, his presence, and his purpose. When you stop living for her, when you stop making her the center of your universe, that's when the attraction returns. But here's the catch. You can't fake it. You can't pretend to be the monster. You can't just act detached, distant, and emotionally unavailable and expect her to desire you. The monster's indifference, his emotional self-sufficiency, comes from a place of genuine self-respect. It's not a manipulation. It's not a game. It's the natural byproduct of a man who has built a life that he values more than any woman could ever define. It is authenticity that makes the monster attractive. His life is not dependent on her, and because of that, she is drawn to him in a way that no amount of attention or affection from you could ever achieve. Desire is not something that can be controlled. It cannot be cultivated through constant attention, constant affection, constant reassurance. It thrives on the unknown. It thrives on the tension between what is and what could be. You may love her deeply, but your love for her is not what makes you desirable. It's your love for yourself, your life, your mission, and your ability to maintain independence that makes you irresistible. The monster loves deeply, but he does not need to be loved in return. And that, my friend, is the darkest secret of female desire. It is not that women do not want affection. They do. It's not that they do not want connection. They do. But what they truly desire is a man who is independent, who can stand on his own, who has a life outside of her. They want a man who can love them deeply, but also walk away if the relationship no longer serves his greater purpose. They do not want a man who is emotionally dependent on them. They want a man who is free, and this is where you've gone wrong. You have been chasing after her, seeking her validation, making her the center of your world, and in doing so, you have lost everything that made you valuable in the first place. You have sacrificed your purpose, your mission, and your independence to keep her. You've become predictable. You have become the man she can count on, and that is the death of desire. The monster, however, never becomes predictable. He remains unpredictable because his life is driven by something bigger than her. His purpose is greater than any relationship, and it is that purpose that gives him power. It's that purpose that makes him desirable. The monster does not live for love. He lives for himself, and that is the most powerful force of attraction there is. The final truth is this: you can't chase desire, and you can't force it. You have to let it come to you. You have to be the man who is focused on his own path and let her come along for the ride. When you do this, when you stop chasing her, when you stop needing her validation, she will begin to desire you again. Not because you are playing a game, but because you have become the man you were always meant to be.